Hello guys, welcome to the forest. In today's video, I'll be discussing an important element of Cube, the consistency. And to me, consistency is a very key part of making sure that players are having a really fun experience. No one wants to dead draw the entire deck, and making sure you have those consistency cards built into your cube ensures that everyone will have a fun time when playing with the decks they build from your cube. There are three types of consistency. Draw, which is hard and soft draw. Hard draw is where you discard their cards to draw more, and soft draw being more of you're just drawing to add cards or you're shuffle drawing more cards. Search, where you're searching out things like energy and Pokemon, and recovery, recovering anything from trainers, supporters, to mons. And in this video, we'll be focusing on consistency found on Pokemon, and in another video, we'll talk about building consistency in your trainers you put into your cube. Now, one card to be very aware of is the Cleffa from Neo Genesis. It recently got reprinted in Celebrations, and it has a lot of wonderful things going for it. First of all, each Shuffle Draw 7 is really good for those early game setups to make sure that every turn you have a fresh hand of 7 cards to work with, excluding the draw 1 for the next turn. And it's also a baby Pokemon, giving it a unique kind of ability where your opponent has to flip to attack you, so you're kind of semi-invulnerable, and it also has free retreat. So Cleffa from Neo Genesis is really a good card to look at. Other draw attack consistency includes the attack collect. Collect and very similar attack stat are very often reprinted, and it's usually drawing 1 to 3 cards and is very easy to find on basics for like your 2-stage or 1-stage Pokemon, which are your line toppers, like the big attackers of your cube. So finding those for early game consistency is also really good. Also keep your eye out for free attackers that you can put into your cube, preferably basics or stage 1s. Couple examples, there's Furret from Secret Wonders with Keen Eye. You're just able to look for 2 cards from your deck, and Chatot with Chatter is just free copycat, kind of like a Cleffa. It's a pretty cheap attack, and it just means you get to swing into your turn again with a fresh set of cards. The most powerful draw consistency are found in abilities. Shaman EX is the first thing that comes to many of your minds. It was an EX Pokemon worth 2 prizes, a pretty easy retreat, and its ability setup filled your hand to 6 cards whenever you played it, and you could do it multiple times per turn. Crobat V from Sword and Shield era is basically Shaman 2.0. The only drawback is you cannot stack its ability. The DivKid was between those 2 eras and was the hard version, discarding your hand for a fresh 6. In a similar vein to those big basic 2-prizers, there's Claydol. It was reprinted in Celebration and was originally from Great Encounters. It was a bench sitter, a stage 1. You put it on your bench, and once during your turn, you could choose up to 2 cards from your hand to put on the bottom of your deck, and then you filled your hand into 6 cards. Very similarly, from Breakthrough, we had Abyssal Hand Octarily that let you fill your hand up to 5, and the reprint from Brilliant Stars, we have Industrious Incisors Bibarel. There's also discard to draw cards. The most recent example of this is the Radiant Greninja. You discard an energy to draw 2, and also from Sword and Shield era, you had Trade Lipard and Make Do Cinccino, where you just discarded any 1 card to draw 2. The original version of this is DivKid from Ruby and Sapphire, where you discarded an energy to draw 3 cards, and it's more balanced since it was a stage 1. Now, draw consistency is probably the most important thing to make sure you have in your cube. Having something like Pokemon Search consistency is also very great. The most common is Call for Family, any variation of that attack. Search for X or amount of Pokemon or X type of Pokemon, put it onto your bench. That attack has been around since Nidoran female, I believe, and it's great to include for your line toppers, because then your basic Pokemon for your main attacker can just set up your board state. And in a similar vein, from the Sun and Moon era, there is Alolan Vulpix from Guardians Rising. This is a really good staple card. It had a free attack to put any 2 Pokemon from your deck into your hand, and as long as you were not disrupted, you had an excellent setup for the next turn. Clefable from Plasma Storm is one of my favorite cards in our personal cube. I am very lucky with coin flips, and that is probably why I love this card so much. You get to flip a coin, and if you get heads, you search your deck for a Pokemon and just slap it onto one of your Pokemon that can evolve. It does not need to be on there for at least 1 turn. It breaks evolution rules just like Wally, and thus I always see it and I always want to pick it up on cube, and I always play it and have a wonderful time with it. Venusaur from Dark Explorers, you get to search for any Pokemon and just put it in your hand. There's also type-specific searches. Metal Magnezone from Stormfret is an example of this. You get to search for a metal or electric type Pokemon. It's a little more restrictive, but abilities like these are not very common, are typically on your stage 2s, and are not necessarily as valuable as those draw consistencies. And a couple more examples. Hoopa EX Scoundrel Ring is really good if you want to do a bigger 2-prize era, because you get to just search for any 3 Pokemon EX. It might be a bit too powerful, but it's an option. Dragon's Exalted Gabite gets to search for dragon types, and that is just some examples of Pokemon search consistency you can put into your cube. One of the last ones we're going to talk about is energy consistency. Energy consistency does not mean energy acceleration. Energy acceleration happens when you're able to get more than 1 energy on your board per turn, more than the single attachment you get to make. Energy consistency instead consists of recovery and search options. A couple of Pokemon who search for energy include the Expedition Clefable, which you just swap a card from your hand and get to grab an energy, kind of like an energy search. Aquapolis Fur is very similar. With Scavenger Hunt, you put 2 cards from your hand into your deck and you get to search for any energy, no stipulations, whereas Clefable searches for basic energy. With Aquapolis Fur, you can search out your special energies and make sure those get attached during your turn. A really wonderful recoverer from this card is Magneton. Magneton from Power Keepers is really wonderful. Its ability Magnetic Field is a great recovery option. You get to discard any 1 card and get to recover 2 basic energy, excluding any cards you might have discarded that turn. And with those on your benches, it's just really good consistency, making sure you get those energy attachments, which is really helpful if you have a slower or lower power cube where you want to make sure you get those energy attachments every turn, otherwise you're going to be behind and get slightly steamrolled. Now the final category is about recovery. Recovery is a really nice thing to look for in your cube, but on Pokemon it's pretty limited, and it does not break your cube if you did not have it, but here are a couple of good examples if you are interested. Most of the recovery options are found inside of text. Stabilize Junk Hunt is really wonderful, getting you 2 items from the discard pile back into your hand. Floatzel GL has a very similar, but its attack is free, and you get to put 2 supporters from the discard into your hand. Slurpuff from Chilling Reign with Follow Sun 2 colorless, and depending on how many heads you get after flipping 3 coins, you get to put any card from your discard pile into your hand. Excadrill Rototiller, shuffle any 4 cards back in your deck. Drifloon from Majestic Dawn with delivery on a head. Coin flip, you get to put any 1 card back into your hand. And then Drifblim from Stormfret just gets to put any 1 card into your hand. There are various different options, and though recovery is not as important, it's fun to look for those options where you can to get those cards coming back into people's hands so they can build interesting decks that they enjoy. In conclusion, if your cube lacks consistency, it will not be very fun to play. In this video, we looked at consistency help from Pokemon, and keeping in mind some of the cards I showed you today, you can create a very interesting cube that is fun and engaging to play in. The key to an interesting cube are text-heavy cards that do interesting things. That's it for today. I hope you come back to the forest soon. Bye!